I have noticed some men don't like to date women that have kids.
Is this now? Can I ask this, is it normally men who already have children or men who don't have children?
Sometimes it's men that already have kids,
Hmm.
and which is sad because it's like you already have kids, but you don't want to date someone that has kids.
Hmm. Do you think that the economic times that we're in has a lot to do with that? Because I can see that a man who possibly have children with someone else, and then they come into a relationship with a woman who has children, they may not want to carry that financial load
Mhm.
of the of responsibility of having to care for this child also.
Right. Economically, I don't know. That's a tough question actually.
Hmm.
It's very tough because yeah, like I said, everything plays a part in everything. Economically, yes, it is hard.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because when you look at like back then,
Yeah.
it was much more prevalent for a man to be open to taking a
Yep.
woman with children. It was
Yep.
easier to do that, especially when you consider being able to afford a bigger family back
Hmm.
then.
No, it was much more likely for a person to create a bigger family for themselves than to take on a ready-made family from a person that they was not supposed to be with in the first place as far as being a step baby daddy. Listen, man, the thing about it is that they keep trying to shame y'all for having preferences. And I don't know where that came from. Actually, I do. It came from men starting to have standards today. And now they're trying to use the simp era because that's what I'm assuming that she's talking about. Because all around the world and in every other culture, and even back in the United States of America, it used to be shame for a woman to have children out of wedlock. I mean, I even remember when we used to shame promiscuity, or we used to shame when women was out doing things and they didn't have a husband or they were sleeping around. Now, they didn't mean that it wasn't happening, but it was more or less happening under the radar, and it wasn't as promoted like it is today. I even remember reading the Scarlet Letter in school. I don't know what grade I was in or whatever like that, but we had to read the Scarlet Letter. That was one of the books that was required or that we was able to read in school. Now, if they try to put something like the Scarlet Letter in school, you're likely to get a protest from parents, from these modern parents that was raised in a single parent household by women that embrace feminism. And it's unfortunate, but they trying to shame you for having standards. And I'm telling you, don't back down. Don't sit there and think that it's something wrong with you because for whatever reason, whether you are a person that already have children or if you don't have children, it's nothing wrong with you deciding that, hey, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to take on somebody else's child. And vice versa for women. If a woman says, yo, listen, I'm not really interested in taking on a ready-made family. I'm okay with not having kids, or I'm okay with not talking to a guy that don't have kids if I don't have kids. I'm cool with that also because I just think that that's just being responsible. You only get one opportunity and one life to live, and so it's your responsibility to make sure you do the best with it. Now, the thing that we do shame is people when they decide that they want to have children out of wedlock, or they just want to randomly pick their baby daddy, or they wasn't thinking, or they did it out of lust or whatever, and then they decide, oh, okay, well, listen, I'm gonna open up my legs, and you're gonna let him bust in you, and you're gonna decide to keep the kid, and you're gonna make him pay child support, and he still want to play a role in his child's life, but then he need a second father or a second baby daddy, or all of a sudden your standards change when your when your value drop. How do you raise your standards when your value drop? It's supposed to be the opposite, but in no other thing in the world, whether we're in corporate America or whether we growing or whatever, do you become less valuable, but then you have higher standards and requirements. That's like a poor person saying that, oh man, I only drive a new car. When on average, a person that is getting money usually has a car that's not as new, but is paid off and is generating a lot of revenue for them because they don't have to spend a lot of money on things that you would have to spend on money in order to impress people that don't care nothing about you. And it's crazy. But the guy made a really good point that I've never actually heard anybody make online. He said, what if that guy that does have kids, because she was trying to act like it's selfish. She was trying to act like, how dare them, not accept us for the way that we are. Like we don't have options. But she was trying to make sure that she was shaming him. And then the guy made an interesting point. He said, what if he realizes that it costs more to raise a kid than ever, especially considering inflation. And 100,000 ain't 100,000 no more, or 50,000, because let's be clear, on average, most people are not making $100,000. And what if he decided that he didn't want to take on that financial burden? And she didn't have an answer for that. She didn't have an answer for it. And then the other girl was talking about, yeah, back in the day, they would have been more willingly ready to take on. That's what's wrong with y'all, is that y'all think that that's the truth. And that only came from these boomers and these Generation Xers that simped out, gave us feminism, and ruined the community because they didn't have any standards. Man, y'all think that. That's why y'all feel comfortable going out there and sleeping with anybody and everybody and having a whole phase, because this whole phase is crazy that you can go out here, trick off, and then say, okay, you know what, I'm ready to settle down. Who's the best available option? And why don't I have the top 1% man? And why isn't he paying 100% of the responsibility and the resources? And y'all think like that, and you think that that makes sense. And then you think that we supposed to look at you and say, look at little Future right there. That's named after look at little Future right there. That's named after a rap persona and not even a junior from the person that had him and is not responsible in his life. Let's all have the Sierra's prayer. And listen, I think that step baby daddies are a pillar of the community. I think that they are a gift and a curse. The gift part is they're superheroes in that they doing something that I would never do or advocate for somebody else to do. And if you willing to throw yourself under the bus in order to make sure that you save the community and save people from their own bad decisions and fix something that wasn't supposed to be here in the first place based off of the bad options of somebody else, and God bless you. And I think you need your own holiday. And they curse at the same time because they validating bad behavior. And I think that it takes some strong decisions and a level of shaming and responsibility and forcing people to make a better decision and to raise their kids better and get back with their baby father, which I think is also enabling bad behavior, which is one of the reasons why it's also a curse. And so when you think about the yin and the yang, it kind of fosters more of this feminist behavior and mindset versus, and also in including the fact that it does do more to save communities. A lot of y'all needed fathers, and instead of holding your mama accountable for not, or for getting with they back with their baby daddy, or you was weaponized against your father, but then you celebrate your mother, and we spend more time celebrating mothers on Mother's Day, and fathers get socks, and Father's Day is an afterthought, is wild to me. It's absolutely wild to me. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. Why do you think that women like this have this narrative, believe this, and have this mindset? Do you think that it's as a result of what men did yesterday versus what they doing today? Or do you think that men are just starting to open up their minds to their preferences and ideas, and they starting to get the microphones and communicate with each other to educate each ourselves on why we should do things differently? I can't wait to read the comments. Make sure y'all tap into after hours tonight, because I didn't do after hours on Thursday because I had a whole lot of stuff going on with my software, and I got to rebuild some stuff and whatever, so on and so forth. And it would have got started way, way, way too late. And so I always leave open Friday as an alternate day to do after hours versus just jumping off the bridge and just trying to hurry up and do something. It's quality over quantity, but it's still consistency. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all tap into after hours night. It's going to be popping. And then Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. I'm going to read y'all comments and see what y'all saying. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.